actually tell you from a recent example of my own what I
Okay.
did in a
Yeah.
very similar situation. So I was in a 5-10 hand, three-way pot. It was a three-bet pot. We all had above $4,000.
Okay.
And I completed so somebody three bet, a guy called, and I completed on the button with twos, and the flop comes king, king, deuce. And we wind up getting it in three ways. All
What?
of us, 4K in the middle. Okay. The two guys that get it in, they each have king, queen. So they're sharing outs. There is
Oh
no
my,
better situation in poker,
oh my
right?
God. So there's no kings left in the deck.
There's no kings left in the deck. They can only hit a queen. That is the best situation possible to make a quick 8K. And so this is 1 a.m. on a Saturday. I'm up 3K. I'm having a great night. This is like my last orbit, you know what I mean? Like I'm winding down. I wasn't planning on playing a humongous hand, but here we are. And so queen on the turn, right? And my whole day is ruined. My whole it gets scooped. They chop up my money. And as you know, in a three-way pot, you can't run it twice. So
Right.
that's
Which is
it,
the dumbest rule ever.
which
I
is the
hate that.
dumbest rule ever, but you can't
Yeah.
because the dealers are incompetent.
Right.
So that's what it is. And so now here's what I'm doing. Like I'm walking away from the table immediately, like you did. I go
Yep.
home, like I am not coming back from this. Like that's my
Right.
night. And
Yep.
so I don't play the next day. Absolutely not, which is good. You did not. And
Yeah.
I got in, normally I run 3 miles before my
Okay.
poker session. I ran 4.5. You know what I
Wow.
mean? I did a little extra just to like shake off that residual tilt. I
Yeah.
also looked over all my hands from the session because inevitably, like that one hand, yeah, it's very tilting, this and that, and like it feels like I had no control. But like three of the hands earlier in the session, I could have played a little bit better. So it's sort of like restored like the control to myself of like, yeah, I couldn't do anything in this one hand, but I could have made these three little tweaks.
Did you
And I'm
write the
excited.
hands down or how did you
I
just
always write my hands. I use the notepad app
okay.
in on my phone. So whenever a hand happens and I find it interesting and I didn't quite know what to do, I write it in the notepad app. I come home, I analyze it, I think it over. If I can't, figure it out myself, I run it by some friends. So it's like a way to just, it resets me for the next time I sit down. And now I'm excited the next time I come to play poker because I get to see what are my adjustments going to do, right? It's like a new test, a new experiment. I'm not the same player anymore,
Yeah.
because I've made these three tweaks. So that resets me. I also meditated. Like I put in, usually just a standard 10 minutes a day of meditation. I'm going 30 now because I had
Wow.
this experience. So
Wow.
I'm doing all these things and I'm just like incrementally ramping up because I know I just went through this hard event.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
It
So
just,
I'll work on that as well. I'll do some physical activity, make sure I get some in tomorrow.
yeah,
Do some extra meditation. Like I've been usually doing the 10, but I'll up it. Um,
yeah. And then
'Cause
last thing I do is I have a mantra. Everyone's got their own, but I like to say to myself, like, I'm built for this. I like to say that to myself because it's like, I know that these types of things are not unique to me. These hands that are so negative, they're going to happen to everybody eventually. And
sure.
so my separator is I'm going to deal with them better than everyone else. And therefore, like if we had to think about a poker game where this horrific cooler doesn't happen at all, or excuse me, it happens to all nine players. Most players would like instinctively say, "I hope the cooler just doesn't happen." But
Yeah.
really, you should wish that it happens to everybody equally because if you're the one who deals with it the best, it's an edge for you.